Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. When you call 911 for an ambulance, you expect one to show up right away. But unfortunately, this isn't always reality anymore. The new documentary, Honorable But Broken, EMS In Crisis, explores the current state of our emergency services. Here to share more, we welcome back professional photographer Derek Hanley. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me again.
Thanks for visiting us. So let's recap. You were here earlier this year talking about your book, this photography project where you embedded yourself with first responders in the Bay Area?
Correct. Yeah, I was with the Bay Area medics during the first year of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Captured some amazing photography and stories that would have been just a memory for these folks. And you know, some of the bravery and some of the heroism of these folks is just unbelievable. It's almost hard to put into words, which is why I think photography and things like film, you know, touch people in their hearts, which is really where I feel like this story needs to go.
It is a great vessel to get the attention of people, which is the goal of this project. So tell me about the documentary and how you became involved after your photo book came out.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was the director of the film, Bryony Gilbey. She reached out. She saw some of my photos out there, and she thought that it would be good to have some real providers out in the documentary to be able to represent what's happening out there in the field. And she explained the mission of the film, which is to really sound the alarm of this crisis that's happening nationwide of the shortage in EMS providers. And so she reached out to me, we got some photos in the film, and it turned into this kind of bigger project than I thought it was going to be. And I'm sure we'll touch on it, but we got a star narrator to come in to add a little bit more oomph to the project and hopefully get it onto the national stage into the homes of the public.
So Sarah Jessica Parker herself is the narrator of this film. Do you know about how she got involved as well?
It's another one of those weird stories of kind of odd connections, but the director was working with the paramedic in New York City who was actually on the cover of Time magazine during the pandemic. And she was mentioning how she's doing the film, and she's trying to help promote EMS providers, and this paramedic said that her uncle just so happened to be the longtime sound guy for Sarah Jessica Parker.
Awesome.
And so I guess he brought the project up to her, showed her kind of the trailer to the film, and hearing about the paramedic Alana, her story in New York City and all the struggle through the pandemic, I guess she felt compelled to lend her voice to this, which is really powerful, and it touched a chord in me, and I'm sure the other producers of the film and everyone that's involved with it, to know that, you know, someone that kind of prominent and important is willing to lend their voice to something that's so important.
And I think New Yorkers too, I mean, they really went through so much in that time, earlier than a lot of the rest of the country too. We were just sort of watching things on our screens, but that's wonderful to hear that she wanted to become involved. So tell me more about your backstory, because you've been a paramedic, you've been a military medic. How did that translate to you bringing photography into storytelling?
Yeah, I did about 10 years in the military as a medic. I was in the Air Force and the Army. I got out and worked as a civilian paramedic for a couple years, and then I actually moved out to California to help my friend start a photography and video production business. And so kind of bringing both worlds together has kind of been a mission of mine for some time. And I got the opportunity, I was behind the scenes research position with the EMS agency, and wanted to just go out with the crews just to kind of see what it was like to be a medic in that area, because I never worked there. And you know, brought my camera with me, just started taking some photos just to give to the medics, because most people don't know what they do on a daily basis. And then the pandemic hit. And so I decided to go back out in the field to capture these stories, to be able to share this with the world. Because, like I was saying, there's some of the service and sacrifice that these folks did will bring a tear to your eye when people hear about it and see it. And so that was kind of my mission, to bring more visibility and more honor really to medics, because that's what I think is the key ingredient that's missing here for these folks.
Because they do choose day in, day out to go save lives, and a lot of times they just don't have the support or the resources that they need. That's a big message of the film, that a lot of states don't even consider EMS an essential service.
As amazing as that may seem, most states in America in 2023 do not consider this an essential service. It's mind-boggling to me when I talk about it. Fortunately, Oregon is one of the states that does actually consider it an essential service. The only problem with that is that doesn't guarantee that there's going to be adequate staffing on that ambulance for any prescribed period of time. You know, there's a condition that emergency dispatchers call level 0, which basically translates to meaning there's no ambulances available when you call 911. And, you know, that's a frightening thing. If I call 911, for my wife or one of my family members or something like that, I expect it to show up.
You don't want to even think twice. Exactly.
Right. Not only that, if you call 911, if you have done it latently, you're going to wait on hold for 10 minutes before you even get to a dispatcher. There's a dispatcher shortage. On top of that, it could take however long for an ambulance to get to you. Then you get to the ER and you're waiting outside for another hour because there's a shortage of ER doctors and nurses, and so that's impacted. So we're really trying to, like I'm saying, sound the alarm and get people on board with the fact that this is a national crisis. This is a national emergency at this point. And if people aren't taking action to stem this shortage and this exodus of these valuable medics, you're going to call 911 and who knows what might happen.
Yeah, it's an important issue, big crisis. I'm glad that you're lending your voice. And we're going to have everything folks need to know on our website as well if they want to get involved or learn more. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.